Hello, I'm Dr. Gareth Moore and welcome to day 20 of my Solve for the Exit the Game Advent Calendar, the Intergalactic Race. Well, we'll start as always by having a look at the story. Although actually, I think before I do, there's two things to say. One, after yesterday's video I saw lots of comments that people couldn't actually see the numbers 935. So I feel I should point out exactly where they are. They're around this circle here, and by here, and by here, and around here, with the edges of the numbers delineated by these coloured lines here. And then the dark green areas, basically. I hope that's clear, and I'm sorry I didn't explain that yesterday. And something else someone else put in the comments, which is particularly interesting, is at the top of the days on the calendar, it always says this: carefully tear out the calendar sheet before reading. But there was one day it didn't, and that was a previous day where there was a reason not to tear the sheet out. But yesterday's calendar, as someone else has pointed out, actually says it is not necessary to tear out the calendar page before reading. And quite why it says that, they didn't know. I don't know. Because you did have to take the page out before you could cut it out. I mean, technically speaking, you didn't have to tear it out, you could have cut out, but then there's no actual reason to take any of the pages out, generally speaking. You can solve in the book if you wanted. Anyway, that's a bit strange, but I thought I'd acknowledge that. And in fact, while I'm talking about things that aren't directly connected to today, I haven't yet acknowledged in these videos that it has been said that there is a replacement puzzle at the back of the hints book. There were 2 days where you could get directed to this, I believe, by the first hint if you had taken it, if you didn't want to do that day's puzzle because it involved certain skills some people really struggle with. So I will look at that, but not in this video. I'll look at it at the end of the calendar, I think. Alright, with that preamble out of the way, let's have a look at the 20th of December, which is today. You lean back in your seat, relieved and also a little proud. You actually managed it, albeit with rather rustic methods. That was a close shave. And it remains close because after the evasive manoeuvre, you have finally run out of fuel. You barely reach the space gas station. Claus lets out a sigh of relief and glides down to the gas pump. Done. You quickly get out and grab the nozzle, but nothing happens. Not a single drop comes out. "I'm really sorry," mumbles the gas station attendant who has just come out of his sales booth. 15 minutes ago, a customer bought the entire supply. Everything. I've never seen anything like it. Put a lot of money on the counter and had all the fuel filled into canisters. I was surprised he didn't fill up a vehicle, but of course it's none of my business. Claus looks at you. "Sabotage!" he says darkly, "and I wouldn't be surprised if that was the same person who shot laser beams at us before. What did the guy look like?" The gas station attendant shrugs his shoulders. "I'm not even sure if it was a man or a woman. I had a coat closed all the way up and just whispered quietly. Sorry." "What do we do now?" you ask Claus worriedly. "Well, there's nothing else for it. We shall brew our own fuel. It's not exactly rocket science. We can find everything we need on the shelves in the store. I just need to remind myself which ingredients to mix together. Anyway, turn the page, open door 20, and we expect to find 2 riddle cards, S1 and S2. So this is a page that says at the top, carefully tear out the calendar sheet before reading. Well, I mean, I haven't done that technically speaking, but tearing it out after reading is pretty much the same, isn't it? Right, there we go. So we've got 3 sets of arrangements of items of different colours. And that perhaps corresponds with the fact that we need 3 numbers today to work out what our next door is. Well, I can't be sure of that. That's a possibility anyway. Some of them are numbered. It may be that the fact there are 3 is neither here nor there in that respect. There's directions of movement, there's different objects, and the flasks here have got letters on. No, they've got numbers on. Why did I say letters? Well, I mean, that looks like an O, it looks like a B, but that is definitely a 4. By here, again, similarly, but there are flasks with some other ingredient with numbers on, and down here there are more flasks, and the numbers are not unique because there's a 4 here and a 4 here, for example, but I think otherwise there's probably more or less one of most of them. I think to make sense of this, we're going to have to look in the door on the calendar. Alright, so yesterday we worked out that our door for today, door 20, was somewhere on the calendar, up here. There it is. Let's open it and see what's inside. We were expecting 2 riddle cards, right? And 2 riddle cards we have. And then inside, that's the space gas station. I don't know if there's anything else of importance there. I'll have a better look in that room in a second. Let's first of all look at the riddle cards. Well, there we go. Right, it says, the path always follows the direction of the arrows until the next bottle. Keep checking the colour scheme for instructions. Code, the first pink, the 5th yellow, the 3rd green. So I think we are indeed taking 1 digit from each of those grids. And there's a colour scheme, start and finish, it says. Well, maybe this will make sense when we have a look at the grid itself again, or the 3 grids. But first, I will have a check in the room, like I say. All right. So, well, there's the attendant in the gas station. It says empty. And on the right is a container. There's some toilet roll. Lovely. And yeah, that's about it, I think. So let's have a look at these cards along with the grids. All right, so there's a pink start here. If we were to follow the arrows, it would take us to the 8, the first pink. But what has that got to do with the other colours? And what does the green here mean? Does it mean we leap around the grids? Do we go to start here, then go to here, but then discover that we're supposed to be in the green grid? And so we then go left, but then back in the pink grid. And so that's just going to go in a loop forever. So that is not the correct interpretation. The path always follows the direction of the arrows until the next bottle. Keep checking the colour scheme for instructions. What's also true is that once we reach the bottle, what do we then do? Well, perhaps when we reach the bottle, go to the same square on the other chart. It's possible, isn't it? We could start with the pink, go across to the 8, then we could go to the yellow square, go down left to the 5, then we could go to the green, which I quite like actually. We could go down, right, up to the 6. And I like that explanation. But there's one problem. Why does it say finish? Oh, because we're not going for the first of all the other colours, are we? We're going for the 5th yellow and the 3rd green. So actually this is working, I think. So the first pink, well, I mean, it may work. It's not obviously wrong anyway. We go across to the first pink, so we get 8. Okay, fine. And then next, what do? We go to the yellow grid, because we're here, and we go down across to here. Then that's 1 yellow. This is not a number 1, this is a tally mark. It'll be more obvious when I've written more of them, I hope. So anyway, we are here, which is our first yellow, not our 5th. So now we go to the green in the same position, and we go down, right, up to the 6, which is also our first green. So I can put a tally mark here. Now we go to the yellow and go up to the 9. That's our 2nd yellow. We go back to the green, you go left and down to a green here, which is our 2nd green. And then we look here and we see pink. I'm hoping this is correct because it's going to take a while to be incorrect about it, isn't it, if I'm wrong. Anyway, we go here and we go left to here, which is a bottle. So we stop, but we don't need it. We've already got our first pink. So now we go across to the yellow in that position, go up and across here, which is our 3rd yellow, and we go to the green in the same position. So let's go left, down to this beaker here, which is our 3rd green. And it's our 3rd green that we wanted, so our answer here is 4. Okay, then we look here and we go back to the yellow and we go right to this one here. That's our 4th one, so the next yellow will be the one we want. But first we have to go to the pink, go right to the bottle here, which brings us back to the yellow chart, which brings us left to here. We get our 5th yellow and it is a 7. So it gives us an ordering too, doesn't it, from pink, yellow, green. So I think our answer is 8, 7, 4. And given that that worked out without entering an infinite loop, I suspect that's correct. So 8, 7, 4 we have. Let's get the calendar back. So we are here at the top and we're looking first of all for an unlabelled door, and then second of all one which matches the shape. So we go down right, which takes us to what was door 9, and we go down, which takes us to what was door 2, and we go down right, which takes us to an unlabelled door. Very good start. And we have star L diamond. So there we go, we have indeed found door 21. And we are now quite close to finishing the calendar, aren't we? Well, there we go. It was a bit of fun, I think. I hope you enjoyed that. If you've got the calendar yourself, let me know how you got on. If you're just watching, let me know what you thought. Did you realise straight away what was going on? I don't think that's too tricky a puzzle, but you do have a few things to work out, so I can easily imagine getting stuck on that for a while. But anyway, I'd love to know what you think. But otherwise, until I see you in one of my other Advent Calendar solves, all that remains for me to say take care and goodbye.